Hello everyone and welcome back. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to a brand new video on the channel. Hopefully you guys are having an amazing day. So I've been thinking, I had a theory. What would happen if Jacob imprinted on Bella instead of Renesmee in the Twilight Saga? So, I would normally leave this theorizing to the professionals, but since we have one professional leaving game theorist, Matt Pat, thank you for your service, sir. I've been a huge fan of the series for ages, and you know, I had this question in my mind for a while. What would happen if Jacob imprinted on Bella instead of Renesmee? So I did some digging around, and I have a theory as to what would have happened. So let's theorize about it, I guess. You know, I think we need to go back on the background of what imprinting is. So, before we dive into the theoretical scenario, let's quickly recap on what imprinting in the Twilight series. It's a supernatural process where werewolves find their soulmates. So, means like imprinting is described as an involuntary, unbreakable, and intense form of love, and the attachment occurs between a werewolf and another person. So we all know that in the Twilight universe that Jacob's packmates Sam and Emily and Leah,
if you're here to torture Jacob some more, feel free to leave.
Fun, isn't she?
They were involved in the love triangle. So, because Sam and Leah were dating first, then when Sam found his soulmate Emily, he imprinted on her, then that has the whole triangle thing. So, and what this also confirms that Jacob and other wolves, they can actually imprint on other humans. They don't have to be a part of the pack to imprint on. So we find that out when Jacob imprints on Renesmee. But I just want to go ahead and dig deeper as to what would have happened if this theory came to life, pretty much. Establishing the hypothetical scenario. Now picture this. Instead of Renesmee, Jacob imprints on Bella. What does this mean for the characters and overall plot of the Twilight series? So let's break it down a notch and let's see what we can dig into. So what I personally think with what would have happened, that say for example we could do the fun route, and we could do the fun route and say Jacob actually imprinted on Bella in Eclipse when Jacob was telling Bella about imprinting in the movie. Instead of Jacob saying you wouldn't know if I had, Jacob just got down on his knees and just started doing the love to Bella, and then that is when he imprinted on her. But that is more of a difficult and challenging story to talk about, but it is a fun one. So I think that's the one that we're gonna go on about a little bit later. So let's take a look at the character analysis. firstly, let's analyze the characters involved. And Jacob would have had a strong bond with Bella. Suddenly imprinting on her could lead to a dramatic shift in their relationship dynamics. So what impact would this have on Bella, who already has complicated relationships with Edward and Renesmee? Let's talk about Bella's reaction. Okay, first of all, I'm laughing because we wouldn't have gotten this clip in this movie right here.
You imprinted on my daughter? She's a baby!
So this relevantly could add another layer of emotional complexity in Bella's relationship, especially considering her commitment to Edward. So I think this would leave like a huge debacle to Bella and Jacob, Bella and Edward. So I want to talk about Edward's reaction because Edward might react with jealousy, frustration, or even anger, considering his rivalry with Jacob and the sudden romantic connection between Jacob and Bella. So this would be absolute hell for Jacob if Edward found out about this. So that's a fun reaction. I definitely think that there would have been some sort of showdown between the wolves and the vampires. That's definitely a lot of fun to worry about. So this is when I want to talk about the plot of the impact on the pregnancy plotline. So we all know in breaking down part 1, they have the movie revolves around Bella's unexpected and difficult pregnancy with Renesmee. If Jacob imprinted on Bella, this tension between characters might be differency, and the pregnancy plotline could take an entirely new direction. Let's talk about the shift in dynamics. The love triangle between Jacob and Bella and Edward, we all know, is a very difficult situation for all three of them to have. So I think if Jacob actually imprinted on Bella, this would actually cause a lot more fighting between the packs and the vampires and the trio, Jacob, Bella, and Edward. I definitely think that we would have gotten more kissing between Jacob and Bella.
Jacob! Kiss me!
Which is always awesome because I loved that kiss scene because my boy deserved it. Shout out to you, Jacob and Taylor Lautner, because you guys deserved it. I definitely think that there would have been like more of a huge brawl fight, and maybe one of the two main characters getting killed, but that's a whole other messy situation. Speculation on future events. Looking beyond the original storyline, let's speculate as to what potential sequels or spin-offs that could have happened if Jacob imprinted on Bella. How might the Twilight universe continue to unfold? So let's brainstorm a little bit. Let's say, for example, Jacob imprinted on Bella in Eclipse. What would happen? This would definitely be more of a fun situation and more of a fun experience to talk about, I think. I definitely would have thought that the first kiss definitely would have went a lot more smoother between Jacob and Bella. So that I definitely think that she wouldn't have gotten a broken hand. Definitely. I still think they definitely would have had an altercation with Edward even after the kiss, because that's always fun to speculate. So yeah, they definitely would have had a lot more fighting, a lot more brawls. So I really don't think that a lot more would have changed. I definitely don't think the second kiss would have happened in the movie, but there'd definitely be a lot more smooching between them behind Edward's back. I want to discuss what I think that would have happened in Breaking Dawn Part 1. The wedding still would have happened, but I still think they would have destroyed it. The honeymoon might have happened. Let's just go on a limb and say that the wedding was very, 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 very tense. But it did happen. Jacob did show up at the wedding.
Best man didn't have time to get a tux.
Jacob!
But instead of all the hugging and stuff, what happened, that there would have definitely been they would have kissed. I think at the wedding, and I don't know if Edward would have saw and caused a huge stare down. Here's my final theory. So with all of that happening, Jacob sneaks and he goes to the honeymoon location. He goes there. He's in wolf form the entire time until he gets there. And then this is gonna be quite muddy to get through, but okay, here's what I'm thinking of. Edward and Bella, they still have the honeymoon. They still rock the boat. Bella supposedly gets pregnant through Edward's baby. But let's go on a limb and say that that doesn't happen, and Jacob goes in there. He goes to Pound Town when Edward is not there. He's out on a walk, or he's doing something. He's busy. He's not thinking about Bella and stuff. And Jacob, he keeps his thoughts to himself. He's not in there rocking the boat with Bella and everything like that. And Jacob ends up getting Bella pregnant. So that is what I think that would be hilarious. So that is my theory. Everything remains the same throughout Bella's pregnancy because they think this is Edward's child, right? But instead of the baby being a bloodthirsty monster, and we know that Bella gets bit by the baby when she's first born. No, they have the pregnancy, and then since it's not a demon baby like in Breaking Dawn Part 1, Bella feels fine. They think it's Edward's kid, but they don't know. And then Jacob is completely silent. Bella has a feeling that it's Jacob's kid, but she doesn't want to hurt Edward and telling him that it's not his kid and stuff, and like this whole love triangle thing. So this is definitely what I think would be the best case scenario for Team Jacob. So one thing I just want to touch on as I'm editing this, that Bella's pregnancy goes really smooth. There's no hiccups, she eats her food normally. The Cullens, they don't think anything is wrong with Bella. The reason why Bella fakes her death, Bella, she will end up passing out due to Bella having to get cut open and stuff like that, because they literally had to get Renesmee out the difficult and the hard way. So that is why Bella passes out, so that they think that she's gone, and Edward still bites her to try and save Bella's life. So, and then she fakes her death. They still go outside, and they immediately find out that it's Jacob's baby. And then they find out that it's Jacob's kid because of the black hair. It's still gonna be a baby girl. I don't know about a name or anything. I definitely think that would have been the best way to go. So I want to backtrack a little bit. They don't actually know that it's Jacob's baby. So Jacob is the only one that knows, but he doesn't say anything because it's Jacob and he wants to keep everything a secret, because if Edward reaches spots and finds out that it's Jacob's baby, that would be another complete train wreck. So I definitely think that they still have the face-off with the wolves and the vampires, but when Jacob transforms into the wolf, this is difficult because Edward knows what the wolves are saying to each other.
Jacob Imprinted. They can't hurt her. Whoever a wolf imprints on can't be harmed.
So I think that when Jacob transforms into a wolf, he releases some sort of spirit that only the wolves can understand. The vampires, they're completely blind, they're completely oblivious because they are shielded. I still feel like the theory would be more fun if Bella ends up faking her death or whatever, and then she ends up getting bit by Edward, and we can still have that cool transformation theme at the end of the movie. So if Jacob imprinted on Bella in Breaking Dawn Part 1, it would significantly change the dynamics of the story and the actual plot. Jacob imprints on Bella and Edward's daughter, Renesmee, which plays a critical role in the resolution of the conflict between the vampires and the Volturi. If Jacob were to imprint on Bella instead, it would likely lead to a different outcome. Bella would be forced with a complicated love triangle between Jacob and Edward. This would introduce new conflicts and tensions among the characters, as Bella's relationships with both Jacob and Edward are central to the series. The resolution of such a love triangle would depend on the choices made by the characters and the author's direction of the storyline. Ultimately, it is important to note in the events of the Twilight series are as a product of the author's imagination, and any alternative scenarios or thought changes could be purely sensitive. But in conclusion, let's just take it down a notch, because I know everybody's all fired up probably. There we have it. Remember, this is all speculation in the Twilight universe, where Jacob imprints on Bella instead of Renesmee. So this actually doesn't happen, because this is just a theory. But if it did, what would happen? So hopefully you guys have enjoyed. Please hit the notification and subscribe button, and thank you for watching. And remember, that's just a theory. Thank you, Matt Pat.